Recording.
Now, Andy Robb, Ken Prell, the Philly Hockey Guys.
Oh, wow.
Hey, how are you?
Hello.
What's your name again?
I'm Andy Robb.
Oh, who am I?
You're Ken Prowl.
Oh,
Welcome to the Philly Hockey Guys podcast. It's been a while.
at least 2-3 years probably. Now,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, actually, speaking of years, before we jump into everything, this is our second year. We had our second-year anniversary, I guess, for the existence of the Philly Hockey Guys podcast.
We've been doing this for 2 years.
Yeah, hard to believe. I know. But
Not routinely, apparently.
But yeah, so sorry about the delay. You know, life happens. Some things good, some things not so good, but, you know, we're here.
The good news for Flyer fans, there are a ton of other podcasts out there right now.
Yeah.
Flyers and NHL podcasts.
Yeah, a lot of great podcasts to listen to. I mean, for Ken and I that are both broadcasters and we've been working in radio, it's really awesome to see with all these different podcasts popping up, people exploring broadcasting and communicating and all coming together for the love of the Flyers. So, you know, all those other shows, you know, we've been gone for a little bit. You know, great job for all those. So,
Absolutely. Like you said, we started this 2 years ago. There was a few others around at that time. Now we're looking at what? There may be around like 10 different podcasts out there right now, which is great.
we said that all the way back in our very first show. You know, it's
We
like,
just wanted hockey talk. We wanted Flyers talk. That was it.
Yeah,
That's all we were looking for.
there's no reason why we can't all work together and enjoy our favorite team together. So big shout out to all the other podcasts out there that have been fighting the good fight throughout the offseason while we kind of have taken a little bit of time off to deal with just a few things. But here we are. We're back once again. And we do have things to talk about, maybe.
Now,
Stuff
we have
happened.
like a bunch
Didn't
of
it?
pages of notes here.
All right, so should we just go ahead and open with the big news in case you didn't know? The Flyers picking number 2 overall in the draft.
This is already going to turn out to be the biggest bust in NHL draft history. Can this guy stay healthy?
Nolan Patrick, of course, the Philadelphia Flyers taking
I'm kidding
number
before
2
I get any
overall.
hate tweets or anything like that.
Boy, I tell you though, you know, we'll touch on Patrick in just a second, but the Flyers as a whole for that draft this year, good God, a lot of forwards.
Yes. I mean, in years past, you've seen, Hextall's focus has been on defense and goaltending. This year, there was a definite shift in philosophy and looking to get a little bit more offensive punch. And it certainly has paid off as the HockeyWriters.com ranked the Philadelphia Flyers as number 1.
Yes.
Their farm system, number
Yes.
1 in the entire NHL, up from number 5 last year. I mean, last year, it was good, but what they've done this year to add to it, unbelievable.
And also, you take a look at some of those other rankings that have come on that Hockey Writers list. Penguins, 29.
That's a shame.
And so it is really, really exciting, for lack of better words, to see the Flyers ranked number 1 overall, climbing up 4 places for farm systems. I mean, when you got players like Rubstov, LaBerge, Lindblom, of course, who probably is going to wind up making the team. Of course, Jordan Wheel, Moren, Sanheim, Carter Hart, and so many more. And also Morgan Frost, the young guy who we picked up in the draft, I think is going to be quite impressive.
Yep,
And
27th
Isaac
pick
Ratcliffe
overall,
as well.
and they got him at 35.
Yeah.
And both of those guys are bona fide first round picks. I mean, it's really exciting where this team is heading.
It is a very exciting time to be a fan of this team, and I think they're going to have a better season. I can't wait for camp to start.
Yep. I mean, it's only a couple months away. September 17th is when the first preseason game against the Islanders.
So look out for our next show then.
That we'll be right around that time probably. The way we're going this year.
We're going to take another. Well, it wasn't even really 2 months. It was like really a month and a half. Like our last show was in May. And then there was some vacation time and, some other things. And, that.
It's really been like a week.
It just flew by. It really did. But again, thanks a lot for sticking around. Thanks for tuning in for the 5 of you that are probably tuning in right now.
We love all 5 of you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, real exciting times to be a Philadelphia Flyers fan. So, the offense, I think we don't really have to say too much about defense because We know what we need to know.
Well-
Myers might make the team coming out this year.
Well, I mean, that's going to be the thing with the defense. There's probably right now 2 open spots.
Yeah.
And I guess the favorites are probably Robert Haig and Sam Morin right now. But Myers is, at developmental camp, he seems to have beefed up, added about 10 pounds of muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So he's making a hard push to be in this lineup. It's going to be fun to watch all these young guys competing for just a few spots.
Not to mention Travis Sanheim. He's aiming to make the team this year out of camp.
You have McDonald, you have Gudis, who are probably going to be your veteran presence. And then you have Ghost entering really his second full season.
Sure.
And then you have Provorov, who off a very successful rookie season. So it's exciting, and it should help out the goaltending.
And obviously, speaking of goaltending, the big news there, next season, it begins the campaign for Steve Mason to win the Vezina Trophy somewhere else that is in Philadelphia, because obviously it's no secret.
So once
Mason
the Flyers
will
get
not
rid
be
of
back.
Yeah,
Just look at Bobrovsky. There you go. There's your point of reference.
Well, that was an ill-conceived trade at the time. Again, we've talked about that plenty over the past couple years, trade. But
and still, we were holding on to like a shred of hope that, things would work out with a player like Steve Mason to come back for another season with the Flyers, but it looks like that that just wasn't the case.
When Mason was on, he was really good.
Yeah.
But then there would be those times where he just looked like he had never been in goal before.
Yeah, when he's on, he's on. Absolutely. And that's the consensus, I think, that comes in regards to Steve Mason. So let's talk about who we picked up as a replacement for him. Basically, when you look at it, when you whittle it down, pretty much almost the same player.
It's Steve Mason 2.0.
In Brian Elliott.
Yeah,
let's talk about him.
Again, less money, so I think it works out that way. Because Elliott signs for 2 years, $2.75 million per. Not going to hurt you. You still have Neuwirth, who, if he can stay healthy, is a very good goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about health. Elliott, again, inconsistent. When he's on, he's really good, and when he's off, he's really bad. And it doesn't seem to be any in between. So it depends on which guy shows up each night. But again, if this defense is what it projects to be, and these young guys come up and they all are stars or at least very good NHL players, you're not going to be asking your goalies to be doing a whole lot.
No, absolutely not. Make the job easier for them. And then as we eventually, make that transition to Stolarz joining the team and, eventually Carter Hart, whenever that may be as well.
Were you kind of surprised that Stolarz wasn't really given the chance? The Stolarz-Neuwirth tandem wasn't given a chance, and they went out and signed Elliott?
Not really.
No?
I mean, he could use a little bit more time in the AHL. I mean, because the Phantoms are really bulking up. And if they want to compete for a Calder Cup, which they certainly have the potential to, you're going to need somebody like Stolarz back there holding it down.
Yeah. I know a lot of people out there were just not comfortable with Stolarz. I would have been okay with it, with a young team growing together. Again, Elliott, for what they signed him for, not a bad move.
Yeah, time is on our side. It's an attractive deal in terms of Elliott. Nice way to just bridge things over until, some of the younger goaltenders can step up and make their mark known with the Philadelphia Flyers. So, hey, you know what? I am confident, I think, for one, that they're going to make the playoffs this year.
Really?
I do. I'm saying it now. I mean, it's early on. It's very early on. But I'm saying I think that they have the potential to make the playoffs. And you know what? As we talk about the next season, real quick, got to mention, big shout out, because I know he listens, to Pierre-Edouard Bellemare for his time with the Flyers, and now he's going to be playing with the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah,
the 99-cent shrimp cocktails.
Yeah, kind of surprised that the Flyers even exposed him to the expansion draft, but they
had
did
to make those decisions.
Yeah, and they did, and Vegas got themselves a quality guy, a decent player.
Here I was thinking they were going to take Dale Weiss.
Nope, Dale Weiss will be back. Again, you're the president of the Dale Weiss fan club.
Just get right. Yeah, that's exactly what. I know. It's not time for that. We don't have any news about him. No Reese's Pieces. But yeah, I mean, and Hextall said that about Bellemare. Credit is given where it's due to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. They did their homework. They picked the best player we had available.
I think a lot of people thought that maybe Scott Lawton may be picked, and the Flyers ended up protecting him and actually signing him to 2 more years.
And I love it.
Yeah, I know. I know a lot of people don't like it, though. I mean,
and those people are stupid because it's like, he had a chance to play well with the team, and he didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. When you were being shuffled around and your line mate was R.J. Umberger, you expect to have a breakout banner season. Shut up.
But Lawton, he had a tremendous AHL season.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
So I think the guy deserves a chance. And, again, former first-round pick. There's talent there, obviously.
He was captain in juniors over McDavid, for crying out loud. He was captain of Canada.
So he's better than McDavid is what you're saying.
Yeah, I didn't think I needed to say it. Don't forget, you can follow us on our Twitter account. We do use that.
We do?
Sometimes. At Philly Hockey Guy.
Oh, yeah, I'm always on it.
No, it's good to be back doing the show again. We've been thinking about it.
Look, it's a slow time of year. There's obviously we're talking about a lot of different news, but that's over the last 2 months that we've acquired.
That's why
all this
we've been
news.
saving all this up.
Exactly.
We've been collecting.
We wanted something to talk about,
like bacon fat runoff.
But now as we get the run up to the season and stuff like that, we'll be back in the studio a lot more, hopefully.
All right, so let's get back to what should we talk about? Nolan Patrick, you want to get back to Nolan Patrick once again? Because, there's still a lot of things, about this young guy and what he can bring to this organization.
Well, I was joking earlier about him being a bust because he was supposed to actually hit the ice this week for the first time, but actually had an infection in his face. Hextall said that he had an abscess boil that had to be addressed, but he's doing well, so hopefully he'll be back out there on the ice skating around very soon. But he's coming back. Before the draft, he had undergone a second sports hernia surgery. He basically played in juniors in the WHL last year, a good chunk of games with the sports hernia. I guess the first surgery was kind of done incorrectly or wrong. Right. So the second one, I guess by the time, September and camp rolls around, he'll be 100%.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time. And it's like, people are like, oh, he had surgery. He's going to be damaged goods. It's like, Gostisbehere had ACL surgery before he had that breakout rookie year with the Flyers.
Yeah.
So it's like, once again, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
Now, we haven't talked since the draft, but were you disappointed that the Devils went for Nico and not Patrick?
No. I'm happy with either thing.
Okay.
I'm happy with either one. You really can't lose. Come on.
I didn't know if you really preferred one guy over the other.
Nah, I'm fine with either because you know what? It's really, the Flyers Devils is really going to heat up over the next, couple years, so I'm excited about that. So as long as the Penguins keep going on the decline, hey, that's cool.
Well, a decline for the Penguins right now is not winning a cup.
Ugh. I care less about this one because it's the same thing that we've said time and time and time and time again on the show. It's I'll never hate the Penguins more than the Rangers. I'll never hate them more than the Devils. It's like your fans. It's like, okay, cool. If you're trying to get under my skin, it's not working.
This one did kind of annoy me a little bit more than last year, just because I wanted to see Lavi and the Preds win it. So I was kind of hoping Lavi would win it. But,
what a surprise. Lavi blowing it in a cup final.
Oh, wow.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. No, that was a great run for the Predators. But,
it was. It was fun to watch.
I got to say, their Achilles heel for that was a little bit Rene because, man, he didn't have some good games.
But without him, they don't get there.
Subban was great. He really has brought something special to that Predators team, and that's somebody that you can build around. Speaking of the Predators, Scott Hartnell back again.
That's right. He did sign with them.
Nashville in the offseason.
Yeah, that's good.
Fantastic.
And another former Flyer, I guess, has been rumored to be going there, Mark Streit.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple. I've seen that a couple places that they're interested.
Stanley Cup champion Mark Streit,
yes,
who didn't play at all.
Still got his name on the cup.
He still got
still
his,
gets a ring. So, yeah, congratulations
Whoa.
to him.
Oh, good job. Now, you know what? That guy, we said that in our last podcast. That dude was a class act all the way across the board.
I wasn't as happy for him as I was for Tiemann a couple years ago. But.
Oh, well, absolutely not. There's a huge difference between the two
absolutely.
of those.
Yeah.
Big difference.
But it was still, good for him. Yeah, now go away.
I guess, yeah. But, the Penguins Cup doesn't really bother me because you know what? I kind of feel that maybe could this be the last one for a long time? Well,
I hope so.
Well, until they threaten relocation and they get gift wrapped another generational talent.
Again, I really don't care about anybody else in the NHL right now. I'm really just focused on the Flyers and this youth movement that we've been calling for the last year.
I will say this much: I am excited about another team this year. I really would like to see what the first season for the Golden Knights is going to be like. I am kind of interested. Call me a little bit of a casual fan on the side. I'm very interested.
The way the NHL did the expansion draft,
they did it very well.
Yeah, and they're giving an expansion team a chance to, I'm not going to say compete, but for a championship, compete for a championship, but be able to potentially maybe sneak into the playoffs.
Do you like the new jerseys?
Overall?
Yeah, for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Oh, yeah. They're okay. I thought you were just talking about the
Adidas ones.
Yeah,
they look exactly the Flyers
same.
ones look exactly the same. There's no difference.
What I don't like is there's no third jersey this year.
Well, it's still. Yeah. Are they doing away with those? Has that been
just this season? Yeah. So there's going to be no third jersey this year.
That's okay.
But yeah, I always like that third jersey though. The Knights jerseys. Yeah, they're okay.
I think it's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what this inaugural season will be like for them. I'm not saying, I want them to win a cup or anything. I'm interested to see how Fleury will play in a new place. He's gone.
Yeah, and he was another big part of the Penguins getting to the cup this year. As much as Penguin fans don't want to admit that,
because they're idiots.
Some of the Penguin fans that we know,
they're freaking morons. I'm done talking about the Penguins, though. But seriously, Vegas, let's giddy up. That'll be fun to watch on the side, just to be entertained.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so let's talk about next season. We have plenty of stuff to talk about as the months fly by, but let's talk about...
I'm real disappointed.
Let's talk about the coach. Let's talk about Dave Hakstol.
All right, okay. I think this is probably going to be Hakstol's most challenging year because the Flyers are going to be so young. Average age on this team is probably going to be just a little over 26 years old.
Yeah.
So, and you look how the Flyers have started the last couple years under Hakstol. It's been slow. They lost 14 of their first 20 games in the 2015-16 season, 12 of their first 20 last season. So now that you have all these young guys being kind of, added to the lineup, I wouldn't be surprised if another slow start happened again this season.
Well, they're starting out on the road again.
This year. Yeah, what is that all about?
That seems on the West Coast.
On the West Coast. Last year it was just the first 2 games. This year it's the first 4 games on the road. They start off, open up Wednesday, October 4th in San Jose. The next night they're in L.A. Then on Saturday, the 7th, they're in Anaheim. And then Tuesday, October 10th, they're in Nashville. So they don't have their home opener until Saturday, October 14th against the Capitals.
Yeah.
That is a very difficult start to a season. Yeah. NHL doing the Flyers no favors.
Well, it's not a new NHL season if they're not starting out with a strange schedule.
Yes, yeah.
That seems how it has been in recent memory. So I think it'll be an exciting season for Dave Hakstol, namely when you're talking about these young guys. When you're talking about all these young guys that are coming up, it'll be a fun time to play a game and guess which one of them will be scratched for Van de Velde. Right?
Van de Velde's not back, is he?
Yeah. He better be.
No. They let him go, right?
No. Hakstol would.
I don't buy that.
Yeah, no. Van de Velde ain't going nowhere, buddy. No. You can plan on Lindblom being scratched next year. You can plan on Lear being scratched next year.
Seriously, though, does that concern you that Hakstol hasn't shown patience for young players in his first 2 seasons?
I think that he's kind of shown patience for young players. I mean, like, it's not like we were talking about that earlier, like a while ago when one of our last podcasts. You can find them all on iTunes and all that crap. Maybe SoundCloud. I don't know.
I think SoundCloud's still around.
I mean, like, it wasn't the end of the world, like, when he scratched, like, Konechny for, like, one game. Like, the world didn't end. It was fine. Like, you know, you didn't.
I wasn't a fan of it.
We don't know 100%.
Ghost being sat a few
Right,
times.
but we don't know 100% every dimension of what goes into a decision like that. There could be something, one facet of a player's game that, you know, you need to sit back, maybe, like, observe the other players on the ice, learn something about it, take something away from it. There could be, you know, we're not professional hockey players. There could be, like...
Whoa, we're not?
I know, you should have seen me at the takeover. God damn it. But, like, you know, there could be, like, one small facet of a player's game that, like, you know, the casual or even the more serious NHL fan may not be aware of. There may be something that, like, you know, they may know more than us. Saying, hey, you need to work on your something.
All right. Well, I mean, it's going to be impossible for him to scratch all the young players this year because there's going to be so many of them.
Let's talk about Oscar Lindblom then. Where does he fit with this team coming up into the next year? And I'm telling you, get him playing with, like, Filppula? Okay.
I mean, a lot of pressure is going to be on him because I think the Flyers are looking at him to be kind of the replacement for Braden Shen.
Well, that won't be that hard.
I can't believe I'm the guy here that has to defend Braden
Yeah,
Shen.
Considering every show for the last couple of years, you're like, I want him gone. And now you finally got... First off, side note, you finally got your wish. How do you feel?
I thought
Are you happy?
I was kind of happy. They jumped back. I mean, they traded him to the Blues. They jumped back up into the first round. They got picks, again, next year. It was a solid move for a guy who disappeared 5-on-5.
Yeah, I mean,
on the power play. Braden Shen was phenomenal.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And all those goals count just the same. But 5-on-5, he just disappeared a little too much. So
it was too much of a price to pay. I'm surprised Reed is still going to be around. That's what I was kind of surprised, that they're still keeping the Matt Reed dream alive.
So I think, again, a lot of pressure is going to be on Lindblom.
I think he's going to have a good season. I mean, good enough.
I mean, only 20 years old,
yeah.
but he's coming from a great league. The Swedish Hockey League is one of the best in the world.
Yep.
So
and with larger ice and stuff.
Yeah. And he was second in that league with 22 goals last year. He was fourth in points. He had 47 points. I just hope everybody, I mean, if he doesn't start out gangbusters, that everybody doesn't get down on him and, you know, gives him a little bit of time to adjust to the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that learning curve. I mean, look at how Konechny progressed in his first year. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely a potential top 6 forward. I just don't know if that's right away.
Plus, he does have great people to play with and learn from. I mean, you've got Giroux, you've got Simmons, you've got, you know, some of those older players that can, you know, really help him out. But in some ways, I feel like the guy's just a natural. I think that he's going to be all right on his own.
You know, you just mentioned Giroux. Did you see Roenick's comments?
Yeah, but let's remind people about exactly what happened.
In case you missed it, Jeremy Roenick just said recently that the reason why Claude Giroux doesn't get success is because he lets everything get into his mind and he looks for other things to blame it on.
What?
I don't know where that comes from.
That doesn't even make sense.
I mean, maybe through some of his conversations with Giroux over the years, you know, leads him to believe that.
I mean, he's still looking at his point numbers that he had. The guy had a rough start to this last season, but
there was a major drop off.
He did have that hip and abdominal surgery before the start of last season, so it's like I'm not really understanding what he's trying to do by saying something like that.
Roenick goes on to say Claude Giroux can play this game and he can play it at a hard level. He's just got to get back inside the game, start attacking the game and not worrying about what the media or the fans are saying about Claude Giroux, period. I've never looked at Giroux as a guy who cares what the media says about him. So I don't know.
I don't know what he's talking about.
This, but if the Flyers are going to be successful, and as you said earlier, you think they're a playoff team, they need the old Giroux back. They can't have the Claude Giroux that played last season.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with what Roenick said. And if Giroux winds up winning a Stanley Cup, he's just going to have to send him a picture of him with the cup and be like, "Hey, JR, you didn't have one of these.
Your name's not on one of these.
So be quiet." Nah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's stupid. And it's the off season. People just say things.
You think that's all it is? Just trying to, create some news?
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
speaking of former Flyers, I guess we don't have to hate Rick Tocchet anymore, right?
No, that's right.
New
now
coach
the
of
new
the
coach. This is his second go around with them, isn't it?
Oh, because wasn't there a time where
what happened that first time?
A little bit of a little gambling problem there, everybody. Oh no, wasn't he organizing like a sports betting ring?
I think so.
It was something like that. It wasn't
his
like
wife was involved in it.
Yeah, like
somehow.
he wasn't like directly gambling.
Yeah,
or anything like that.
It was a very bizarre situation, but good luck to him this time around.
Did he share a cell with Don Tollefson? But now that raises the question. Now that Tocchet's gone, does that mean we start hating Mark Recchi?
Oh yeah, I think we have to now
because now he is the new assistant coach.
Yeah, he replaces Tocchet. Yeah, on the Penguins bench. So
I don't like that. Well, you know what? At least it's not John LeClair.
Yes, that would be.
At least it's not John.
That
LeClair.
Would be a punch in the gut if it was LeClair.
Oh, that would hurt. That would hurt more than when he played for them. But then again, they weren't a threat back then, so like nobody cared about the Penguins back then. And when LeClair
that
paid
was like
for him,
that was like a blink of the eye. I mean,
that was only when 500 people were going to their games.
Yeah, I mean, Tocchet and Recchi both played significant amount of time.
Won cups too.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that would be completely different.
Whoa!
Breaking news.
Haven't heard that in a while. We're going to have to play that again. Feels good, doesn't it?
Marcus Smith has been released by the Eagles. Is that the breaking news?
How are we ever going to win a Super Bowl now? No.
That's not the breaking news.
The breaking news was a little bit earlier. We were talking about Mark Streit.
Yes.
And turns out that he has found a new home in the NHL.
And it's not Nashville, so I was way off.
A 1-year deal with the Montreal Canadiens. Stanley Cup champion, Mark Streit.
Good for him. Hey, that's great. I hope it works out for him.
But not really.
I could really care less. He got his cup, whatever.
And we said before, like I think it was like around the trade deadline when he got traded to Tampa and then got flipped to Pittsburgh. We said, the guy was just a straight class act.
Oh yeah,
we're a big fan of the guy.
Yeah, no, I hope it works out for him.
Even if he did win a cup in Pittsburgh for not playing once.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be 39.
Something like that, yeah. So best of luck to him. I think that's fantastic. Good for him, I guess.
Hey, speaking of old guys, one of your favorites is still out there.
Are we talking about Yogs?
Absolutely.
I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't gotten picked up by a team yet. What about you?
I'm very surprised because I think he still has something left in the tank. I mean, he's 45 now?
Yeah, right around there. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, he put up decent stats last year.
I mean, he helped re-energize that whole Florida Panthers, not only the team, but also that fan base. People are excited about having Yogs around, man. It's that Yager effect.
I mean, I know you'll be on board with this, but with the Flyers having such a young team, bringing in somebody like that, who has so much experience
for just 1 year,
for
another
1
year. Oh my God, I would take it in a second. But
what do you got to lose? I'm sure it's not going to cost you.
Well,
the
problem is, I think it was going up all the way up until last year. I think he was still a player that wanted top line minutes.
Well, that's unrealistic at this point, right?
But man, I would love to see him playing with Konechny.
It can't hurt those guys, right?
Oh no. It can't hurt. It can't hurt any more than being scratched for Van de Velde.
Seriously,
right?
I know, yeah.
And think about what he did for Giroux's career, and look at Hartnell. The best production year Hartnell has had still to date was with Yager on that first line.
Again, the longer he goes unsigned, the more I would seriously look at it.
You'll get no argument from me whatsoever.
Yeah, I know,
I'd take him back.
Yeah.
You give him a good, an attractive 1-year deal and, maybe break it down to him. Look, it's more of a diminished role, but, the impact that he can have, would be worth, the price alone, I would think.
I mean, if he's willing to accept third or fourth line minutes, and at this age, wouldn't that work out better for him?
Yeah, I mean, because think about when he played with us in 2012. By the time we made it to the second round of the playoffs, he was gassed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that Penguins series.
Well, yeah, it was crazy. It was up and down all over the
beat the
place.
hell
But
out
by
of
the
each
time they
other.
got to the Devils, yeah, he had nothing left.
Yeah,
So,
that was a rough time for him.
if I was Hextall, I would kick the tires and see what it would take. But he says nobody's calling.
Which I'm still
Yeah.
surprised by.
Even Vegas, I mean, your new favorite team. I mean,
Yeah,
wouldn't he be a draw out there in Vegas?
Yeah.
Although I guess they're selling out, so I guess they don't need it right now.
Yeah, they don't really need the Yager effect.
Yeah. But again, I mean, a great veteran presence, and he still's got a little bit left in the tank.
Yeah, I hope he gets picked up somewhere. I mean, I think he probably just puts the kibosh on it.
Oh,
but,
yeah. But
I'd be more than all right with it. You know that.
oh, I know you've been campaigning for this for what 3-4 years now.
For the 2 years that we've been doing this show, I know that for sure. Yeah, I just never fully got over the fact that we didn't re-sign him. We were too busy throwing money at people that never even showed up in the first place.
It was a Homer special.
Or with what was it? Parise and Suter as well.
Speaking of Shea Weber, it was just last week. It was 5 years ago that Holmgren had the offer sheet out to sign him.
Thank God that didn't happen.
Really?
Yeah.
You think it would have been that bad for the Flyers?
I mean, some of the prospects that we have now in the pipeline for defense probably wouldn't be there.
I mean, the overall organization probably would look completely different.
Nah, I don't know.
Look at what Pronger did for the Flyers when he came.
Yeah,
aboard.
look what he did up until he was just I don't need to wear a visor.
Up until that point, I mean, he was a difference maker.
But
Weber could have been that same guy. I mean, I think that's what Holmgren was thinking when he offer sheeted him.
Yeah, and I don't know. That ship sailed a long time ago. I got over
I know. I
it
just found it
real quick.
I know. I was just bringing up that it was the 5-year anniversary.
That's hard to believe. 5 years already.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that day here in the office. We were both very excited about that.
Yeah, also terrified.
And
At the same
shocked
time,
at Nashville.
He's offered him,
Matt.
what, a 13-year contract?
Yeah. That was right before. Yeah, that was like the last of those big, gigantic offer sheets before the work stoppage the final year.
Humongous big contracts. Because that... Yeah, I mean, the Briz contract was enough. I didn't need, Homer throwing out, here, 13 years. Why not? No. Ooh, mess.
That's the only way to sum it up.
But now Mark Streit will be playing with Shea Weber in Montreal. Look, everything comes full circle.
I guess so, yeah, when you look at it that way. Do we have anything else?
Going through my notes here.
Those are
It's been
just
a while since we've done this.
Those are just blank pieces of paper.
Wait a minute. Yeah, this is my blank paper collection. Hang on. Here they are. These are the actual notes.
Ooh.
We already talked about Roenick.
Uh-huh.
We talked about Nolan Patrick, Lindblom,
Yep.
goaltending.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll have more very soon.
What were we thinking? Probably
2 months.
What, September?
Yeah.
We'll be back in September?
I was thinking October 1st.
Oh, there we go.
So mark your calendars.
I just saw today, I forget who posted it on Facebook, 70 days until Flyers hockey.
Wow. It's getting here before you know it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
moving right along.
Yeah, I'm real excited for training camp to start. This is going to be a very, very interesting off season leading up to the start of this year's season.
Absolutely.
I think, and we said it earlier in the show. I'm more excited, I think, than I was this time last year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we knew last year, going into the season, that it was kind of a bubble team, and they were an older team, and none of the young guys were really going to get pushed through. This year, completely different. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a growing team, and hopefully, they all gel and it turns into a playoff team.
The sky's the limit, I think, and they definitely have pretty much every card that they need in the deck right now. So it's all a matter of
it's just getting these guys experience and getting them on the ice.
Exactly. So so we'll wrap up the show again. Thanks for tuning in again. Apologies for the delays, but life happens, and it's just like how that Weber deal was 5 years ago. It's like Ferris Bueller says, life comes at you pretty fast. So, but we're here, we're back. Hopefully, you've been enjoying your summer as well.
I have. Thank you.
Not you.
Oh.
All right, fine. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying your summer. But yeah, we'll be back. Follow us on Twitter, and we'll be interacting with you guys online. And again, big shout out to all the other Flyers podcasts out there, doing their part to talk about this team that we all love so much.
All right. For Andy Rupp, I'm Ken Prell. We are the Philly Hockey Guys. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like the Philly Hockey Guys podcast page on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Philly Hockey Guy. And subscribe on iTunes, TuneIn, and SoundCloud.